he's saying that religion plays no part in whether you are a moral person or an immoral person, or I guess if a society is moral or immoral, that morality is not dependent on religion. What do you think?
Well, I think everyone benefits from, especially in Western culture, the pervasive Christian, Judeo-Christian influence, right? So they have these first order moral principles: don't kill people for fun, don't steal from people, uphold contracts, things like that. Uh, so has benefited from those without having to necessarily ground them or justify them. And I think, you know, Dawkins, I don't know if he's really in a position to do that as a scientist. That's more of a philosophical question.
Mm-hmm.
So I think philosophers are more aware of how difficult it is to try to justify objective morality on naturalism. And it's not like the best atheist thinkers out there who are trying to do work in it, they're not like giving up, right? They still think that there's some hope for some kind of naturalistic grounding for ethics, but they have a better sense that it's not easy. It's not as easy as Dawkins or Sam Harris would
Mm-hmm.
like to think that it is to try to ground morality apart from God. So, while I agree, yeah, can you do morally good things as an atheist? Of course, sure,
Mm-hmm.
but can you ground it? Can you make sense of it in terms of explaining why it is that there is objective morality? What makes it that way? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. These new atheists are existing in a world created by Christianity where they can express their ideas freely.
Yep.
And when you look at now, let's turn it on its head and look at those countries that embraced an atheist worldview, like the USSR, like communist China, like North Korea, like Venezuela. Let's look at the Mexican Revolution, where priests are gathered and killed. You see a lot of death. I would think in the name of atheism that is happening. So I just don't know where he sees um, atheism in terms of the USSR and North Korea and Mexico and those countries that embraced an atheist worldview.
Yeah, it seems like they want to just deny that, but it's hard to really. I mean, you look at some of the justifications for what they did, and they weren't religious in the traditional sense at all.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, it seems like a redaction of history in order to make that claim. You mean you're the history guy?
There was a lot of death and killing committed in the name of atheism in the 20th century. The most deaths probably in the history of the world in 100-year span was in the 20th century, and the 20th century was the advent of atheism.
We're going to say something along the lines that there is no atheism. It's not like there is some atheistic worldview. Atheism is just a single belief.
Mm.
Um, but let's even grant that. Let's say, okay, there's no atheistic worldview. It's it. There are still atheists who do these things, and they may be motivated by some underlying materialism. They may be
Yeah, I
motivated
mean,
by some. Go ahead.
so
Sorry.
Marx was a materialist, right?
Hmm.
And his philosophy is what the foundation of the USSR. So you cannot. I don't think you can divorce the the government that was founded in the USSR and Stalin from the beliefs of Marx as interpreted by Lenin. So
That's what it seems like they always try to do, though, right? They always seem to try to say it wasn't implemented correctly, or it wasn't real Marxism. Marx
we got
didn't.
to try one more time. Let's get this right.
Yeah.
Like, no thanks. I've seen the 14 other times it was tried, and I don't like it. So
If you guys get
let's
some
not.
right, if you got something better than capitalism, hey, awesome, I'm for it. But that's not it. Let's try something
Yeah.
else.